In this next video, we're going to talk about teleseminars and webinars. And the preferred solution we're recommending to everybody is instant teleseminar. The real downside to it seems to be that you cannot broadcast live video or of yourself or of your computer screen. But if you don't need that, I mean, that's what most of the big dogs sort of in the coaching, training, author, speaker industry use is instant teleseminar. And there are lots of other ones out there. And I'll try to address the ones that I can, but like if you're just evaluating what should I go with, instant teleseminar, it's the one Rich and Milana use. It's the one that I'm most familiar with and will be able to support you on the best. So anyway, just highly recommend instant teleseminar. But let's go through these questions. So one question comes from someone who is having difficulty downloading the instant teleseminar recordings, I assume from like inside the JVIC. And so I'm going to show you guys how to do that and also how to organize those files on an MP3 player. So let me just pull up the page. So this is, I think this is our last tech call page right here. And when you go in there, you'll see where you can, let's see, we hit the welcome thing. We can click to listen in, and then here's the presentation. We could click the play button to listen live, but the question comes about downloading. And in most browsers, you can right click and choose save link as, or sometimes they say save target as. But in, I think it's Google Chrome, you have to actually click on the link and then you can right click and download. So let's see what that looks like real fast. I'm just going to copy this URL here. And the way that we're going to be able to tell this, by the way, is we're going to hover over the hyperlink. When we hover over the hyperlink, we can see what it looks like. So I'm going to click to listen in. And, well, you know, it looks like hovering over the hyperlink like the MP3 file's there. Let's try it. I'm going to hit right click and choose Save As. Yeah. However, when I do, it says it's going to save it as a web page complete. So yeah, so it's not really saving it as an MP3 file. That must be what we're talking about here. So what you can do is you can click on it, just left click it for download. It'll start playing, and then we should be able to right click the audio that starts playing. Let's see if that's true. Here's the audio. I'm just going to right click, save video as. I wonder what that looks like. Yeah, okay, so I don't know why Google Chrome called it a video, but yeah, you can save it as an MP3.
Hour, so want to welcome everybody.
Okay, so Robin very thoughtfully put together, Robin from the JVIC team very thoughtfully put together a list of the different browsers and how you save them. So she says in Firefox, you right-click and choose Save As on the download link. On Internet Explorer, right-click Save Target As. But then here's what we just saw. It was on Google Chrome. When you do this, you get an HTML file. So on Chrome, you need to left-click, and then when the audio loads, just like we saw, you can right-click and for some reason it says Save Video As, but you can right-click and save the MP3 that way. So I also want to talk to you guys about how to organize your audios so that they play well in an MP3 player. And maybe you guys already have this part mastered, I don't know, but like if I was going to record or download this, and I guess let's say that it was back from May 14th, I would right click and save it just like we talked about, and make sure I had a folder for it. I'd probably call it like JVIC Tech Calls, and then within that folder you want it to basically be sortable by date. And so if you think about it, when you're sorting by date, really the year should come first, because that way all your 2014s will be together, your 2015s will be together, and so on. And then the month should come next. So if this is the 14th, we would do it like this. Oh, no, sorry, that's the date. The month would be, now it's 5, but I would do 05 just because sometimes when sorting, the number 10 will find itself near the number 1, not up near the top of the list with 8, 9, and 10. I don't know if that makes sense what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is anything that's not a 2-digit number, go ahead and make it 2 digits so it sorts better. and then we'd say 14. And you could, even after that, describe it if you wanted. You could say JVIC tech call. I suppose that doesn't really hurt. I think the dashes are nice because they kind of break it up, but then end it in MP3. So that's how I would save the calls, so that when you sort them on your computer, or hopefully in your MP3 player, they come up sorted pretty easily too, or at least they're manageable this way, because you can quickly scroll through the year you want, then the month you want, then the date you want. So I'm going to hit save, and that's what you would do. All right, let's keep moving through this section. So what's the difference between Instant Teleseminar and Free Conference Call HD? So yeah, so I went out to Free Conference Call HD, and they have a lot of similar features to Instant Teleseminar, which is very cool. And by the name, it looks like they are free. I didn't dig in on the pricing, but I couldn't find pricing, so maybe it is totally free. But a big warning flag to me is that none of my clients or peers use this in their business. They don't use it seriously, or at least nobody I'm aware of is using it seriously. Now, I've used freeconferencecall.com for years, but never at a serious level. It's always been kind of when I was playing around or dipping my toe in the water for a business, not quite ready to commit to an Instant Teleseminar account, that kind of thing. I don't know. I just, with Instant Teleseminar, your calls are recorded. They're automatically recorded, by the way. There's a backup feature, and then you can go in and you can just easily access the list of your calls. You can embed your calls in iframes to broadcast them on web pages. But I'll tell you, the Free Conference Call HD, it looks like it comes with a lot of similar stuff, especially when you get into the web controls. The web controls are what remind me most about Instant Teleseminar. I don't know if people can raise their hand like they can in Instant Teleseminar. Like we can press *2 to raise the hand in Instant Teleseminar, but it might be worth checking out. If you're already using a solution, whether it's Instant Teleseminar or something else, sometimes the pain of switching can make it better to stay where you are. But those of you, especially if you're on a shoestring budget, you might want to check this out. I tell you, I use Instant Teleseminar in my own business, and I am not going to switch. For me, the pain of switching is really low because I'm so fast with the technical stuff, it's no big deal. But I love Instant Teleseminar, and it just, I don't know, there's something about it, and it's got that indefinable quality. So anyway, but you may want to check it out, freeconferencecallhd.com. Check it out, and if you find any differences, please let me know. Without spending hours and hours going through and actually setting up calls and seeing what it's like, I just can't tell you, but it looks like it's got a lot of features that Instant Teleseminar does. I don't know what it's like on the control panel end as far as like managing everything. But anyway, worth checking out. Thanks to the person who recommended that. Okay, someone else asked about Maestro Conference for sharing live events. Yeah, so with Maestro Conference, I've never used Maestro Conference before, but my understanding is it's real good for like a kind of small to medium group coaching call, possibly a live event. You can see their pricing options here are like 25 callers, 75 callers, and 150 callers. They're not talking about having 1,000 people on a promotional call where you're selling something. This is more for the people who sort of paid to be in your company, or maybe for a live event. It looks to me like this is sort of like Instant Teleseminar, GoToWebinar, that type of thing. I think I had it in my head, maybe even during the call I had it in my head, that this was something that would like let you broadcast video and broadcast a live event that way, but I don't know. I don't easily connect the dots between this and hosting a live event so that other people can sort of watch. There is something, I think it's called live stream. I didn't prepare for this, so let's see, livestream.com. Let's see what happens here. Watch or broadcast live events. So this might be worth checking out if you're trying to broadcast your live event to get more people in the seats. And I'm not an expert on the psychology and the marketing of live events. It seems to me that it's most powerful when people are in there in person. And And maybe you're just wanting to catch some of the magic by streaming yourself out to an audience, and I suppose that's a good idea. I haven't done it before. I think I worked with one client who did it, but I was not involved in any of the technology and setup. Somebody else was. Like, they hired a third-party company to come in and manage it all. The other thing you can do, and this a lot of my clients do, is they will actually record their live event and then sell the recordings. So that's something you can think about doing also if the live stream stuff just gets to be too tough to work with. But you can certainly contact the company and say, tell me more. This is my company. I'm considering holding a live event. What would it take? And I'm sure they'll be happy to answer your questions. So, so that's Maestro Conference and also live stream. Have you worked with putting on multi-presenter events like a teleseminar but using GoToWebinar? Some of my clients have. I've never orchestrated it in the background, but I know, even with Instant Teleseminar, you can have multiple presenters on there, bouncing back and forth, multiple hosts. So when you say you're an accountant, most of the people would want to pull in and do visual presentations. Yeah, well, so Instant Teleseminar can do that with PowerPoint slides in the presentation. And if that's enough, then that would be the solution I'd recommend hands down. But if you need to show full motion video, yeah, GoToWebinar is kind of the solid rock out there that a lot of the big boys use. Webinar Jam is kind of the new player on the block. It's cheaper, and it positions itself against GoToWebinar, especially with a lot of cool marketing stuff. So if you need full motion video, I'd suggest you check out Webinar Jam, though I will also say that they are the new player on the block. And if you don't need full motion video, then boy, Instant Teleseminar is just such a slam dunk in my opinion. So I hope that's helpful. But any experience in that type of conference event, like teleseminar or webinar conference, yeah, only just seeing that it's relatively easy to do, just having multiple hosts in there. It happens all the time, in fact, when you're hosting a conference call and you invite your JV partner on the line to give your introduction or to do a little back and forth with you. It's just you have a certain way that hosts get into the call and then a certain way that members get into the call. So I hope that's helpful. So then how do you put a live purchase now button on a live webinar so people can purchase within a time limit? Yeah, so with Webinar Jam, you can actually push it up on their screen. They've got a name for it. I forget what it's called, but yeah, in Webinar Jam, you can actually have these offers that are ready to go, and you can like send them out to everybody's screens, and then they can click on them to order. So that's pretty cool. In Instant Teleseminar, if they're watching on their screen, you can refer them to, there'll be buttons that are off to the left, kind of these call to action buttons. I think you get a total of 4. It's like 3 do one thing and the 4th one does something else, but they can all be set up to link to your purchase stuff. It's just they're not very customizable, whereas with Webinar Jam, I believe they are. GoToWebinar, I don't know. But what I'll tell you, most of my clients don't even do that stuff. What they do is they say a call to action on the teleseminar or on the webinar. And the way they do this is by saying a domain name that sends people to a summary page of what they just heard. So a good domain name should really have 3 criteria. It should be easy to hear, easy to remember, and easy to spell. So like for instance with Rich and Milana, their domain name when encouraging people to join from the webinar teleseminar was joinjvic.com. So it's easy to hear, join, and if you're familiar with the term JVIC, it's super easy, right? Joinjvic.com. It's easy to remember because you're joining the JVIC, and it's easy to spell. Most people can spell join without a problem, and JVIC is the second half of that of the domain part. So yeah, so that would be an example of a good domain to use on a teleseminar or webinar. Now, but as far as like popping up stuff during the events, yeah, the closest thing I'm aware of is Webinar Jam, where you can push that stuff out in front of people. And if you're doing evergreen stuff, I know that evergreen business systems, you can have stuff like that pop up and disappear throughout your webinar when in an automated fashion. And probably with Stealth Webinar also, just because, Stealth Seminar and Evergreen Business Systems are the 2 evergreen solutions, or what we might call automated webinar solutions, and they compete pretty strongly with each other. So it wouldn't surprise me if Stealth Seminar did it also. but I know that Evergreen Business Systems can automatically push HTML content out there like buy buttons and stuff like that. Okay, so when is it good to use Google Hangouts versus Webinar Jam or YouTube? Is there a source you can recommend to simply set up Google Hangouts? Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Google Hangouts is still kind of new and people are still figuring it out. The company that seems to have figured it out the best, at least from a marketing standpoint, like what we're up to, is Webinar Jam. They actually use Google Hangouts in their solution. So that's the one that I would recommend for you. If you're wanting to just simply use it, you know, you kind of have to manage it through your Google Plus account, and then from there you can create a Hangout and you can invite people, or you can do a live Hangout on air. But as far as good resources, you know, at this point I'd probably just Google the term how to use Google Hangouts and look for some things there. Yeah, but if you get stuck with something specifically, like, hey, is it possible for this or that? I'd be happy to research it and find out for you. But as far as an overall overview of how to use Google Hangouts, yeah, I can't do that on this video. But I use it all the time, and I'll tell you the way I use it. I'm not using it right now because I'm in a hotel and I'm concerned about the internet quality. But the way that I use Google Hangouts all the time is to make screen capture videos for people. I'll turn on Google Hangouts. I'll broadcast my screen to Google Hangouts. I'll have an audience of no one, because you have to send it to an audience. So I've created what they call a circle with nobody in it, and I will broadcast to that empty circle. And then after the broadcast, the video is automatically uploaded to your YouTube account and it's listed as private. So then you can share it with the people that you want to share it with. And technically it's categorized as unlisted, not private. Unlisted means only people with the URL can see it. So, okay, I hope that's helpful, and we will move on to the next video.